promised myself when I started back up this YouTube that I was going to be honest and tell my real story and tell my life. So, if in doing that, there is something that happened 10 months ago that not a lot of people in my life know about or on social media. I don't know who my family knows about. If you're seeing this, don't be worried. It was 10 months ago. I'm okay. I'm a better person because of this. You can look at the two sides of it, but as this video states, this is life after a breakdown. And I figured I was going to say one of them lucky people that do. This is a really weird video to do. Obviously, I've talked loads, and after having a breakdown, you kind of, there's two ways you can look at it. It was the worst time in your life, which it is, but also when you have that low point where you just snap, you don't want to be, you have two options: regrow and be better, or just go back to the old. And you'll find out, I suppose, in this video which path I took. And there's actually a fly in my room. But yeah, this is not going to be one of my normal videos. I'm trying to be as upbeat in this, but it's obviously a serious conversation. We're talking about my life and my mental health, so I'll probably try to be as happy as I can. But if this is not the kind of video you want to see, if you see me looking down, I've written down a few little things. If this is not the kind of video you want to watch right now, I would advise you to click away. There will be more videos coming that are a lot more upbeat and happy. One that I'm planning at the moment is one about when I worked in theatre over the couple of years, how I travelled, so all that kind of stuff is coming. But this video is not going to be very dark, but there's adult situations in it. There's talking about breakdown, mental health, suicidal thoughts, suicide attempts. So if that's not your tea or what you want to listen to right now, click off and go watch one of my other videos. But yeah, let's start. The question is where to start. I suppose if I work from the breakdown back, so my breakdown was, I think it worked out 10 months ago. That could be wrong, I'm terrible at maths. It was sometime in September. Did we go on holidays in August? Could have been July, could have been August, September, July. Some months ago, it's about nearly a year ago. Anyway, let's not get pedantic about dates. I was working for a corporation. We had just come back off holidays. It didn't happen because of where I was working or what was happening in my life at the time. Me and Kitty were living in a really toxic apartment. I mean that literally. There was black mold in it. We may not have been in the best place in our relationship. You just come back off a holiday, there was a lot of partying involved. But when you're working a lot and you're not talking about your feelings in that kind of situation, it does all build up. But the breakdown wasn't just because of that. Well, it probably was the pinnacle. It was probably the pinhead that went and my brain went wee. I can joke about it now, obviously. My family probably don't find it funny that I can joke about it, but everyone deals with it differently. Probably coming home from holidays and having to go back into work. It was kind of a place where I worked where you had to like hit targets, and the company was a very good company. They employed me, they were brilliant. I earned a lot of money with them. I was able to live in that lovely apartment and pay all that stupid money to them for so long. But I suppose you were expected to not be human, and at that time I had such little strength left in my brain to not like take on what people were saying to me on the phone, and just people asking questions in general about my life in work, and living with mental health issues as I have. I've lived with depression, anxiety, probably a plethora of other things that haven't been diagnosed. Crazy bitch. I joke, should not call myself crazy. That's one thing I'm trying not to do nowadays, because self-deprecation doesn't help in the situation. But it kind of all just came to a pinnacle in work one day, and I just turned to my friend who happened to also suffer from issues. Shout out to that person if you're watching this. I miss your hugs and I miss our coffee breaks. I don't miss my smoking. But I just looked at her and she's asked me, "Are you okay?" She's like, "No." And she's like, "Did something happen on holidays or something?" I was like, "No, I just can't be here." And she kind of looked at me. She's like, "If you're not okay, you don't need to be here." I was like, "Oh, I need to pay my bills." That person did advise me to go home, obviously. And subsequently, in the further day or two, I started to have my breakdown. Having sat down with Killian over the past couple of months trying to explain what a breakdown is, everyone's breakdowns are different. Mine felt like a slow descent into madness and suicidal thoughts and the wants to not to be alive, which I've had all my life, which I still struggle with this to today, still to this day. It's happened recently. Everyone's human. This kind of whole COVID situation and not being in work. Then obviously pushing my dream to do this, and the makeup and the drag obviously brings up a lot of questions in your head. But back then, I'm trying to explain to Killian obviously for this video as well, it's different for everyone. Mine was hitting rock bottom, thinking I wasn't worth enough, thinking everything I'd done in my life wasn't worth what it was, that no one cared. And it's always been, I think, through my childhood and everything, that my mother has always been the person that's pulled me out. And I found myself at this time, that was Killian. That was the person that I was like, oh, that's the person I want to hold on for. And it took, like, I couldn't leave my apartment at the time I smoked for a smoke without having a panic attack. I couldn't leave my bed without having a panic attack. So it got to the stage where I was anxious. Like, I live with anxiety every day. I function as a human being. Most days I lie in that, but you know, I'm unemployed. But it got to the point where going to the bathroom or being in my kitchen or my sitting room caused anxiety. And you may ask, how did I get over that? Did I seek medical help? No, I didn't. I think I did like 2 or 3 weeks there. But I took quite a bit of time off work. Work were like annoyed by this because I didn't contact them, but also work didn't contact me. But you know, that job wasn't for me. And I may have been let go because we feel like the job isn't for you. I'm like, yeah, I had a breakdown in the middle of it and you don't deal with that. They're still nice people. But that's corporations for you. As you see, making jokes about it because, you know, deflection. But having lived with what happened then, it was a slow, obviously, a build then. Killian had to, I suppose, I didn't realise how much I'd hid from him over the years and from my parents. Obviously growing up in a broken household, my parents divorced when I was 12, there was a lot of shit that went on. It was strange. You don't really talk about that kind of stuff. I went counselling when I was younger, but as a kid when you're 12 you don't want to talk to a counsellor. Now as an adult I deal with it in my own way, but there was a lot back to it. Like, so it wasn't just a situation with me and Killian, what was going on in work. There was a lot going on in my brain, and unfortunately some people I think in this world are just born with higher levels of empathy. Like myself, I'm very empathic to everyone, so I take everyone's issue as on and not deal with my own, which is something I've had to learn over the years to deal with. But in regards to the actual breakdown, like, yes, there was times I had planned it in my head and I knew what to do in the house, and that scared Killian, that scared my parents when I recently told them about it. But I can openly speak about that now, and I can sit on camera and speak about that now. Yes, wasn't nervous in the first 2 minutes of recording this video, but now speaking out loud like I do with everyone else, it's healthy to talk. I'm really happy I had a breakdown. It may sound very weird to hear me say that I'm really happy that I had a breakdown, but unfortunately I, for years, as I said, have had a fucked up head and have thought bad things about myself and just like I wasn't good enough and people don't care and all this bullshit. I'm in a 4-year relationship with my family, all of me. You know, it's just your brain. When you have imbalances of chemicals in your brain, it does shit. But I'm so glad and happy that I had that breakdown, because I've never had such clarity in my life. As I mentioned at the start of this, you can take 2 paths. You can take the path of where you're reborn and you become someone new, or you can take the old path, which is where you go back down the old road and you allow the same demons and the same things to happen. Now, don't get me wrong, the same demons are always there, but are you going to allow them to overpower and take you? There is days where them demons still come back and overpower and take me. That's just a life of living with mental health issues, unfortunately. But I went down that road of self-discovery again, finding who I was, finding my self-worth. I used to put a lot of people in my life above me. My partner, my parents, some of my friends, and I would care more about them than I would about myself. So I'd always care about their feelings and see what was wrong with them and how their life was going. And even with regards to food-wise, I would always make sure, in a weirdly weird way, which is probably just because of where I'm from, I would always make sure Killian was fed and there was food there. And if I wasn't home, or I'd make sure I was home, or I'd miss things to make sure he had food at home. Well, that was totally unnecessary. It was really nice, but it was totally unnecessary. So I had to unlearn a lot of learned behaviours. And look, everyone's past is different. And not everyone's life is perfect. Not everyone's parents are perfect. And what I've come to the realisation about what this COVID situation has given me, also true to the big breakdown as well, I have sat down via phone calls, talking with my parents, been in the same place with them. Obviously with COVID I haven't been able to, we got to visit them recently, but I've sat down and spoke to them about things that happened in the past, and I would never have done that before. Old me would never have done that. So I have so much thanks for having the breakdown. Was it fun at the time? Did I want to hit rock bottom? Did I want to be so low that like everyone was like, oh, is he okay? They're gonna try that again? Because I've had suicide attempts in my life. There's been many, unfortunately. But that's when you can't see the light. I say that staring into a very large wattage white light. But yeah, it's a strange thing to sit here openly, happily talking about when my brain went boop boop. And that's the only way I can really explain it. Your brain just goes, like say it's like this, it just goes and just lets everything go, doesn't give a fuck. So I am less fuck giving nowadays. I post on my Instagram when I'm drunk, probably isn't the best thing if I'm trying to beat a brand. But I talk about what I want. I'm very open about how much I love drag now. I don't really take on as many people's opinions. Some of my loved ones I do, and friends and that kind of stuff. But like, I do makeup now. That was a dream for a very long time. So I owe a lot to my breakdown. It's also taught me and Killian a lot. I think it's taught me and my family a lot. Like I recently spoke to my family about situations where when I might ring and talk to them and then they're concerned and they want to give their opinion. Everyone has an opinion, which is valid. But in regards to stuff like this, sometimes people, when they're trying to help, don't help in the best way. And that's no regards to my parents or anyone in my family just trying to help I'm saying you're wrong. But sometimes people deal with it in their own way. So have I got help from doctors? No. I was on antidepressants as a kid. Didn't work for me. What I'm doing a lot of is mindfulness. Do I do it every day? No. Am I the best person now? Do I have amazing weeks? Yes. Do I have really shitty weeks? Yes. Is there some days where I don't want to get out of that bed? Yes. At the start of this whole YouTube thing, I pushed myself for 2.5 months, nearly 3. Did I burn out? Is that why I didn't upload videos? It is exactly what I did, because I found myself going back to my old tendencies of putting a lot more work and care about what other people think and what I'm trying to do than myself. So I've taken a little step back. Still want to do it, still want to do what I do, but I've caught myself, and there's times where I say something or I do something and I'm like, oh, that's an old trait, that's an old thing that you don't want to do anymore. But all from what you can take from this, if you've made it this far, fair fucking play, you've listened to me babble on about how my brain doesn't work. I'm going to link down below a lot of call centres and little different numbers, and my Instagram, Twitter is always open if you ever have an issue. I want to actively speak more on this. I used to work in youth groups as a kid, and I used to help a lot of people, and I kind of want to get back into helping people. That's why I do these videos. This video is probably not going to do well. Doesn't really bother me. It's probably very depressing. I'm trying to make it fun. Look, I'm talking about my brain went oops oops. But yeah, 10 months on, I'm still very thankful for what happened. I know it scared and hurt a lot of people, but it made me a better person, and I think a lot of people have seen that. So yeah, if you want to see happier videos, and there's going to be some more videos kind of like this, speaking on different issues, if that's what people like seeing, yeah, you can click that subscribe button and the like button, and maybe comment down below or message me if you've had an issue like this as well. I don't know. Yeah, check back next week or the week after whenever I upload another video. I'm going to try to record a few this week just to build up a backlog so I won't feel stressing myself out. But yeah, I have green hair, green lights. Clearly my new colour is green. And Batman. Like, anyway, I'm gonna fuck off now. Thanks for watching. Just remember, someone loves you. I love you. Someone always cares. There is light at the end of the tunnel. And not in that way. Someone's always gonna be there.